Welcome back to another video looking at possible questions on the foundational Catholic theology paper, which may or may not cause students to have a couple of issues within the exam. So we're moving on now to look at the explain questions, and again a reminder that on the foundational Catholic theology paper, all of your questions that are explained are going to be phrased using the format that you can see on screen there. So explain from a Catholic and Jewish or two Christian views, the ... Now, as you see from this question, we're going to look at interfaith dialogue today. And this is one of those questions that potentially is going to cause you some concern, because the interfaith dialogue is looked at primarily from a Catholic viewpoint on the course. But obviously, within the nature of interfaith dialogue, we should be able to talk about the importance of it from a Jewish point of view and the importance of it from other Christian viewpoints. So within this video, I'm going to take you through two model paragraphs from a Catholic viewpoint, and then we are going to construct together a third paragraph that is going to deal with the viewpoint from the Jewish view of interfaith dialogue. So if we start with the first paragraph then. Interfaith dialogue is communication and collaboration between people of different faiths and none. So again, that first sentence, really make it clear to the examiner that you know what the focus of the question is, so that you are essentially defining that term, you're setting your stall out, you're making it very clear where you are going. You've been asked in the questions to talk about the importance, so I'm making sure again that I'm referencing why it is important straight away. So it's important for Catholics as it is a key teaching within Gaudium et Spes. So straight away, I'm not waffling, I'm not going to be trying to make myself sound clever, I'm going straight for documents from the Church, straight in there to make it very, very clear that I can drop a little bit of knowledge from Vatican II, where Catholics are told to work together with others and to overcome every type of discrimination. So again, I've got the Church documentation and I've got a quote from it. Okay. Now, that in and of itself, as a paragraph, is going to get me kind of 2, maybe 3 marks. At this point, I've only dealt with the Catholic viewpoint, so I need a little bit more detail and a little bit more variety in my answer. So if we then look at the second paragraph, and again, I'm starting secondly to signpost to myself when I read back through my answer that I've done multiple points, and also to signpost to the examiner that I'm changing tack, I'm going to talk about something else. So secondly, it's important for Catholics as it reminds us that all people are made in Imago Dei, again, source of wisdom, and therefore have the right to be treated with dignity. This is highlighted within Nostra Aetate, where Catholics are taught to enter into discussion and collaboration with members of other religions. Now, holding that quote in your mind, if we move back to the beginning of my answer, I've talked about communication and collaboration there, and although I'm using a similar idea here, in fact the identical words, this time I'm attributing it to its original source, so it counts as a quote rather than just an idea that I'm going to have. Now at this point, might be on 4 marks, might be on 5 marks, but I need that other viewpoint, that Jewish or that other Christian viewpoint, to meet the demands of the question and be able to move on to full marks. Now, you could talk about other Christian viewpoints, but because it's the interfaith dialogue question, I think naturally the easiest response is to talk about the Jewish viewpoint. So we're going to start now. You could either start it thirdly or finally. I'm going to start finally. Finally, Jews will engage in interfaith dialogue in various ways. Now, here you could go one of 2 ways. You could talk about Jewish communities and kind of how they operate and how they are open to individuals and open to people kind of being part of them. Or, as I'm going to do, you could be very, very specific and talk about very specific examples of what Jewish communities do to engage in interfaith dialogue. So, finally, Jews will engage in interfaith dialogue in various ways. Reform Jews show the importance of this by visiting schools to talk to students, and opening synagogues up for people / schools to visit. So again, very precise. Some of you may have had Jewish guest speakers in to come and talk to you. Some may go and visit synagogues as part of your school GCSE course. When you are doing that, it is going to be the Reformed Jewish community that are going to be more open to that than potentially the Orthodox community. So again, that clarity in your answer is going to help. And then you're just going to explain why they do this. They do this to allow people to gain a greater understanding of their faith. That answer combined gets you 8 out of 8. Now, one thing just before we finish the video is obviously within the Catholic paragraphs you've got a number of church documents quoted, and that is going to be needed and expected. We are still doing a GCSE in Catholicism, so you are going to have far more sources of wisdom, far more depth, far more quality quotes to use on the Catholic section than you are for any of the other religious views. So please don't worry in the exam if your Catholic paragraphs look incredibly academic and they have got, like I say, papal documentation, direct quotes from them, and then your Jewish viewpoint or your other Christian viewpoint is a little bit anecdotal, because the exam board are going to expect that all of the top quality grade 9 material in terms of quotes and source of wisdom is probably going to sit in your Catholic paragraphs, and then this is going to be more exemplification of a religion in kind of practice, how Jews go around that doing their religious observances and how other Christians live their lives. So don't worry, don't sit in the exam panicking going that you've not got a source of wisdom, because you've got enough sources of wisdom up here, and the fact that you are talking about Reformed Jews, you're talking about synagogues, shows the examiner that you understand what you're talking about.